So what we really want to know is that is the villain your customer is a bit.
Nice question. So I've been through a lot of customer interviews, a lot of customer calls, a lot of projects that I was part of in the last 18 or so years. 7.5 years at Salesforce gave me this first-hand view into large, small, medium-sized organizations here in the US, Europe, Asia. And there was one thing that constantly came up again and again. The villain that our customers are fighting is status quo. It's business as usual. Every time, regardless of how much money you're spending, you end up trying to fight the orthodoxies within the organization. That's how we have always done things. The world has moved forward significantly in the last 3-4 years. It's not news because of COVID, right? We are so much more invested in digital transformation. We've kind of moved away dramatically from in-person interactions. And as we move into these channels, there is a new thinking that's needed. A lot of digital transformation initiatives that organizations have are still slowed down because they're shattered by old school thinking, status quo, manual workarounds, and clumsy, clunky things that just break every now and then. And the challenge is when you're operating with a lot of customer information, when you want to move fast, you cannot afford to have these things pull you back. It's like you're trying to move fast and you have these hundreds of kgs or pounds of weight pulling you back. It's just an uphill battle for customers. And that status quo is the challenge. That status quo is in products, in applications, in solutions that have been built in some older technology you may have. You've got this sleek, shiny supercar called Salesforce, and it's now tied to like this big trailer of legacy stuff that it's trying to. These challenges are also in processes. How do you get a request for right to be forgotten on board? Or ensuring that your 5 sandboxes, full copy sandboxes are masked. Now ensuring that people who are accessing these sandboxes from overseas are doing only what they're supposed to be doing. There's not an unauthorized access happening. So when you think about all of these things on the process side, every now and then, what you find is that they're fundamentally broken. Companies spend millions of dollars buying the state-of-the-art technology, building this entire data life cycle. And when you look at this data life cycle, you look at this data supply chain, and it's got leaks all over. There are vulnerabilities all over. There is a poor quality of data. You take consent or opt-ins and opt-outs in marketing communication, and those consents are fragmented in your enterprise. You've got like an email system, an SMS system, 2 other systems that marketing put in. And it's all clunky. And maybe you've put some integration technology to move these back and forth, but you do not have a unified repository. It's the same for compliance and privacy regulations. And that status quo is the villain. Every time you talk to customers who have great ambitions or investing significantly in DevOps, who are doing these really cutting edge things, and there's still status quo in so many areas which are like a pebble in their shoe. The faster they try to move, the more it hurts them. And they don't even see that happen. And a consequence of that is in the longer run, executives at top, the business starts to lose interest. They're not seeing as much return as they were told. And it starts to look more like this geeks gone wild sort of journey that you went on, and you're like buying all this cutting edge stuff that doesn't work. We have customers that really do this. They use, like, for example, a DevOps tool like a Copilot or something, and they use that to fire up data masking product. That's the kind of automation. That's the kind of simple thinking you need. You already have so many investments. It's about hooking them up so that the status quo is eliminated. I guarantee you 90% of the organizations today, there is some dude somewhere who goes, I don't know, 8, 10, 12, 14 hours after your sandbox is refreshed, maybe to click a button, maybe to run a script, maybe to run some tool that does some half-baked data masking or retention or something. So anyway, long-winded answer, status quo is our enemy. That's who we are nowadays. Thank you so much.